I'm happy you mentioned the opinion of the governor, because the governor himself knows that he's sleeping on duty as far as the issue of security is concerned in Anambra State. Anambra State has a landmass of about 4,800 square kilometers. It is smallest in the southeast. Enugu State, with about 7,100 something square kilometers of landmass, that almost like 150% size of Anambra State, is better secured than Anambra State.
But that's also in the southeast.
Yes, yeah, the southeast. But what happens is that the criminals in Enugu State have been chased away. Imo State used to be a very terrible environment, but it is now recording better security structure than that of Anambra.
What's interesting?
The criminals in Imo, Enugu, Abia, Ebonyi, and even Delta have all settled in Anambra State at the epicenter of criminality.
The question you want to ask is why?
Because the governor is not doing what he should be doing.
What should the governor
What
do?
he should be doing is to do what others are doing. He should do what his predecessors did, that secured Anambra State and made it the most secure environment, even the most secure state in Nigeria.
And what was that?
And what was ensure that the infrastructure is put in place. As we speak, there's no tracker, single tracker in Anambra State. As we speak, some people were kidnapped, including a Reverend Father. When he was released, he said that the tracking device of Enugu State was the one used.
Do you have this on good authority, Barrister Zako? You're a lawyer, and you know
I
that
know what I'm saying. I say it advisedly and with due respect to all authorities and persons, that our governor in Anambra State is sleeping on duty. He knows it. And when the security men asked him for his assistance, he said he could not help.
Okay, let me ask Professor Ede. Professor Ede, you are in Enugu State. We're really talking about the Southeast development, and particularly in the light of the insecurity and all of those things. So what's your take? Can you hear me, Prof?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. I was asking that what's your own, we're talking about security in the Southeast, security in a way that promotes the development of the Southeast region. What is your take on what's happening over there?
Okay, thank you very much. I think security remains a major concern in the entire Southeast states. The citizens of Southeast states are concerned about the growing insecurity in the region, but this does not start today, and I'm happy that the current administration, both at the national level and at the state level, particularly in Enugu State, Governor Peter Mbah and some other governors in the Southeast, are currently trying their best to see how they can contain or curtail the growing insecurity situation in the Southeast. There are a lot of there are problems about kidnapping, and so-called one chance is still a major problem in the Southeast, and then non-state actors as well. So, and I think the governors are trying their best to create awareness about the need for communities to also play their roles to support the effort of the government, and also to be security conscious as well. Before now, particularly in the Enugu State where I live, the rate of insecurity was very alarming. But since the inception of the current administration led by Governor Peter Mbah, he is taking security very serious. And you are aware that just last week, the president was in Enugu to commission command and the control center in Enugu State, and also some other security gadget donated to security agencies. So there's need for other governors in the Southeast states to also imitate or emulate what the governor of Enugu State is doing in the direction of security.
What would have expected, Prof? My apologies for butting you. What would have expected that, the state's governors do have what they call peer review mechanisms. There is Southeast kind of governors forum of sorts where they have conversations among themselves. Now, if development is happening in one state, or insecurity is happening in one state, one would expect that every one of them would co-own it. But it's a different thing we're hearing. For instance, since electricity came to Abia State, for instance, as a result of the initiative of a former minister of power right there in the state, one would have expected that other governors in the state would have also come up with some initiative to set up their own power generation, transmission, and distribution systems. But I'm not sure if any. So if those are happening, we're not hearing much of them. So in terms of development in the Southeast, do you see the governors having that kind of communication among themselves to create some kind of Southeast economic hub? So we're not just one way, governor is not waiting for the other to take initiative. Every one of them is doing together. What's your take on that?
Okay. I must admit that before now, there was no synergy between the Southeast governors in terms of security or socio-economic development. They were not united as they ought to be. But we are seeing positive sign in the current administration. You can see a bit of unity among the Southeast governors, and one can only hope that it continue to grow, because security requires collaboration, synergy. So currently, I think going forward, the governors of Southeast are trying to work together, not only to support the security agencies in their various states, but also to bring on board communities in form of community policing in order to be able to address arising security challenges in the Southeast. As regards
progress in that regard, my apologies, Prof. Do you see them making progress in that regard?
Yes, I see there's potential for progress, because if you look at what the governors have achieved in recent times, for instance, I just talked about governor of Enugu State, the performing governor of Enugu State, the governor of Abia State, Governor Analyst, and of course some other governors in the Southeast. I can see that they are making effort. It will not be a one-day thing. It's going to take a lot of time, because before they came on board, for instance, there were a lot of gaps, and they are trying to address it. For instance, in Enugu State, the governor has employed the use of AI, artificial intelligence, modern technologies. You can see CCTV cameras mounted across the state. And I can see the Southeast Governors Forum are meeting more regularly than they used to be before now, to see how they can actually share intelligence. Because you see that some of those who commit crime, you can see somebody commit crime in a particular state in the Southeast, and then he run to another state to cool off. So they are trying to see how and there's also need for the security agencies to also share intelligence among themselves as well, because there's more that needs to be done. Like
yes, clearly. Let me come back to Barrister Nzako in Lagos. Well, Barrister Nzako, anyone listening to you would probably ask, it's like you have a personal beef against the governor of Anambra State.
I have a personal beef against any governor that is not performing, especially when it comes to security, because life is sacrosanct. The first duty of a government is to secure the lives and properties of the people. That is the whole essence of government. Because without that, people would resort to self-help, and we don't allow that in a democracy.
Okay.
So if the governor or the government is not doing what it should do, we should be able to call the government out.
Okay.
I'm not the only one calling out the government.
No,
of course, we
absolutely.
we
One of the
government
issues.
anytime it does well,
yes.
And when it's not doing well, we should be courageous.
Now, when you say
and
that,
honest enough to tell the
some
government
things,
that it's not doing well.
Yeah, just a second. When you say
Yes.
that statistically,
Yes.
Kidnapping is happening on every hour in Anambra State.
Yes.
Where are your statistics?
The statistics, not only that, National Bureau of Statistics are giving out the indices about kidnapping level in Anambra. A lot of kidnapping incidences do not go.
No, where are your statistics for today, for
They
instance?
do not go recorded.
Where are your statistics for today?
You ask the statistics, you get that from the police. The Commissioner of Police has cried out.
So you don't have them right now?
Ayo, you don't expect me to to police around the whole Anambra. There are people who have the duty. I'm putting the people who have the duty to police Anambra, and they're telling you that they are recording incidences of kidnapping.
Unless you have those data here.
Let me tell you.
If you had, for instance, just a second,
Yes.
if you had some,
Yes.
PowerPoint presentation and say, okay, based on statistics, these are the facts that I have, these are the facts I have. By Zako, you can't come here and tell me that a whole governor who receives daily security reports is not telling the truth.
I'm not saying he's not telling the truth. I'm saying he's not working in terms of security. Like he's not working. Tell that to him that I said he's not working. He receives security.
So if we say he's not working,
he draws security vote. Now again, you ask me what is statistics on security vote when the governor knows what he draws on security vote. And when I say he's not working, ask the community leaders. There are 177 communities in Anambra State. Ask all the community leaders and they will tell you, all the kings and the president generals of the community will tell you what goes on. Apart from the ones that you see reported on social media, apart from the ones reported on mainstream media, the ones that go unreported are so many. And the government cannot claim not to know. My friend, Professor Ede, is saying glorious things about Enugu State. Of course, he has to say so because the government of Enugu has tackled insecurity in the land. And I say that Anambra is the smallest in terms of land size. And Anambra is the one that there are no forests in Anambra State, more or less. The communities are so intertwined. There are so many people, critical stakeholders that are ready to cooperate with the government. How much are they harnessed? And what is the extent of report and the result that we see?
Have you ever at any time, if you are as passionate as you claim to be, have you ever at any time had a face-to-face discussion with the governor of Anambra State to raise these issues with him?
If I don't do that directly with the government, I do that indirectly.
And how have you done that?
And I do that directly.
Have you ever written him a letter?
Look. Let's not trivialize.
The reason I'm asking this question,
don't personalize.
No, exactly my point.
Don't personalize this.
Just a second.
When the government, let me answer you directly.
Okay.
When the government was inaugurated, I wrote a memo to government outlining the ways and means to energize the energies, the burgeoning energies of the rich people of Anambra State. How do I mean? Virtually every rich man will want to put in something in Igbo land. We call it the Igbo man syndrome. It's like akin to the Jewish syndrome, whereby you don't rely on government, but instead, at the end of the day, bring back what you have achieved. That is the Igbo man syndrome. And you see that happening in Anambra State, but you need to organize it. How much has government done that? I am happy to report that I believe that government listened to my own advice, listened to that my template, and the government is now doing that. But the government is saying, if you are interested in school, adopt a school and develop that school. Go to every community, virtually every community in Anambra State, they are developing their schools. If you are interested in the health sector, go and adopt a health sector, adopt a health facility, and they work on it. That is happening. But security is essentially that of the government. The stakeholders and the individuals and citizens are doing their very best. But the government is the one that is breaking the chain. Now, the government is the one that is dropping the ball.
What I would expect is, since we are talking about the Southeast,
yes,
and you are mentioning a particular state, it would seem like even you have a personal beef against the governor. That is why I'm raising that question. So, if you would advise that, okay, as Professor Ede is talking about, he's talked about 2 or 3 states in the Southeast now, saying that every one of them needs to come together. If every one of them was to come together and go in a particular direction of development, what would be your recommendation?
You mentioned the issue of the governors coming together and synergize. They have Southeast Governors Forum, all right? And I believe that there's peer review at that level. Yes, I also believe that security has to be a synergy among the states of the Southeast. Not just states of the Southeast, among virtually all states, but at least we are looking at the Southeast development. Okay. Because the Southeast development cannot happen when the basic ingredients of development are not there.
Okay. Right. And of course, as Professor, just a second, as Professor Ede said, it's not something that's just started and it's been on for a while. Just 1 second, Mark, I would like to ask a few questions.
Good.
Mark, go ahead.
Thank you very much, Ayo. Let me take the conversation to Professor Ede. And this time I'm going to be asking him about the Southeast Development Commission Act, which has now been signed into law. Was signed last year, sometime in July. I don't know whether you have any expectations of the implementation of that particular act. It was set up to, help rebuild infrastructure that was lost during the war. What are some of the things that you would like to see that particular commission do?
Okay, thank you. First of all, I want to thank the President for signing into law the Southeast Development Commission Act. Thank you, Mr. President, and also the Deputy Speaker of the House of Representatives that brought the bill forward. The expectation from Southeasterners are very high. We want to see a commission that is going to rebuild, reconstruct, and restore confidence of Southeasterners on government. So we want to see that commission walking the talk and not just being on paper. We want to see that every budget made for that commission being utilized, improve the life and economy of Southeast states. Before now, there has been a cry for marginalization of the Southeastern states or Southeast as a whole, and that is why you have a lot of non-state actors coming on board and all of that. And now that we have Southeast Development Commission, they have a duty and responsibility to ensure that they perform. They are improving the infrastructure state of Southeast as a whole. If you come to Southeast, we have a lot of challenges. We have erosion challenges in Anambra, Enugu, and other parts. Some of our roads, connecting roads, are still very bad. And we need to feel the impact of federal government more than what we have before now. These are our expectations. We want to see more of our youths being trained, empowered with modern day skills, because this will help to even address the problem of insecurity in the zone. In general, we want to see a performing commission, not just a commission on paper. Just like the way we see some impact of Niger Delta Development Commission, we want to see the same thing replicated in the Southeast.
Where do you think the commission should be domiciled?
I believe it should be domiciled in the capital of Southeast State, which is Enugu State. Because Enugu State is ready. We have a ready infrastructure and security in place to support the activity of that commission. So I support that it should be domiciled in Enugu State.
Not in the nerve center of the Southeast, which is Anambra.
No, I agree with you that that before now, Anambra used to be the commercial center of Southeast states, Southeast. But Enugu has come on board since the inception of the administration of Governor Peter Mba. You can see International Conference Center is ready. The road infrastructure has greatly improved. Power, security, and a whole lot. So, Enugu is ready for that commission. And I know that the governor of Enugu State is very ready to assist them by providing them the enabling environment or the infrastructure that they will need to start work. So Enugu is at the center and very much accessible to other states. It's at the heart of Southeast, Enugu State.
Well, I do know, I had the privilege of visiting Enugu sometime in December, and I can say that indeed it does look it's very calm, very easy. But clearly, Mr. Nziako is not very happy with what is happening in Anambra State. But recently, over the Christmas season, Mr. Nziako, there were a number of visits paid by very prominent sons of Anambra. One of them is Chief Emeka Nyoku, who went round with Governor Soludo to look at what the governor has been able to put on ground and give very good commendation to the governor of the state. Are you saying that, elder statesmen like that did not know what they were saying when they, gave very big thumbs up to the governor of Anambra State?
Well, I'm not saying that the governor is not working. The governor is doing his best in terms of infrastructure, in terms of road construction and the rest of them. But the governor is not doing well in terms of security. We are very particular about that. And when you talk about development, which not only government is expected to bring development to the Southeast, the stakeholders, the individuals, the patriotic citizens, the enterprising Anambra and Igbo people who want to bring home their enterprises, who want to ensure that jobs are created, who want to ensure that all the infrastructure that they need to put are put. They cannot work in an environment that is bedeviled by insecurity, where blood keeps flowing ceaselessly. They cannot work there, and that's why they run away to other places. The easiest way to drive away investment is to create an insecure environment. We all know this. There's no need playing the ostrich or say, oh, the governor is not working. The governor is working, but his work is not in terms of securing the lives of the people. I am very, very particular about this. I am saying this with all due sense of responsibility.
Okay.
That virtually if you ask the elder statesman, Chief Emeka Anyoko, his opinion about security, his opinion will not be different from mine. Yes,
okay. Right.
In terms of other areas, the governor is doing well, but we want him to do a lot better in terms of security. Every other thing will be added onto his government.
Okay. Thank you so much for your thoughts this morning. Barrister Fred Nzako is a lawyer and public affairs analyst. We appreciate your time, as well as Professor Michael Ede, who is a military veteran and chairman Enugu State, the Nigerian Computer Society in Enugu State. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. And that's our show this morning. Thank you again for the privilege of being a part of your morning. Have a wonderful rest of your day. I'm Ayo Makinde.
Oh dear, well, I was hoping that we could take some mail this morning, but Festus Akimboyewa and Professor Nakina, once again, our apologies. We certainly will take them tomorrow. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Malcolm Yusuf. Goodbye.